executive officers and members of the Fourth Estate, the media, I would wish first and foremost to welcome you to this building for this brief and to thank you for your continued cooperation and communication to the public. And I'm sure today you will be able to do that job of informing Kenyans accurately and properly. Before I proceed, Mr. National Chairman, allow me to introduce the section of the leadership that is here. We have executive officers Mark Oseno-Hannington and Alice Tuwe, Tony Nasia. We also have the members of the National Steering, the Deputy National Treasurer, Muondiku, First Vice National Chairman, Collins Henry Yu, the Assistant Secretary General, Clement Omolo, the Deputy Secretary General, Hesbon Otieno, Wilson Sossion, Secretary General, and National Chairman Wycliffe Etolo Muchei. I may not introduce the entire media houses that are here. You're a full house. I indeed will welcome you. Today we've called you because most of you are trying to reach out to us on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, over the events that have been going on at the Teacher Service Commission. And we even saw a communication that came out from the Teacher Service Commission on Saturday after running the payroll on Friday. The most discriminatory payroll ever executed anywhere in the world in modern times. All nations in the world are governed by ILO standards. And all employers and all governments are obligated to treat all workers equally without any form of discrimination. The action by TSC on Friday and the communication thereof has been very misleading. And that is why we were not quick to hurry into commenting on Saturday, on Sunday. And today we've taken time to digest the motive and the intention of running two payrolls. And today we are only going to talk about the two payrolls in the teaching service, which has never happened. We signed a collective bargaining agreement. It's a document that is law. It is a document that is deposited in the Employment and Labor Relations Court. It is a document that recognizes the Code of Regulations. And therein, in the Code of Regulations, the manner of promoting teachers is very clear. And you know too well, even after the Teacher Service Commission applying for stay orders in the court, they were never granted those orders. Because this is a country of the rule of law. And nobody has an exception of not following the law. Everybody must follow the law. All institutions must follow the law. The matters of teachers are governed through the law. And the principle of equal pay for equal value of work done, it is not possible at the end of a month that an employer will discriminate and pay two different sets of workers doing the same job with the same applications and with a CBA different salaries. That is practically impossible. So the effect of a payroll that was run with expectation of all the teachers rightfully earning their salaries. And not that Teachers Service Commission does not have money. The money has been appropriated by the Budget Committee of the National Assembly. The money is available. And it's fundamentally wrong for TSC to negatively react and vent their bitterness by using the payroll. And that is why we've come today to clarify that it is a shock and total disbelief that the Teacher Service Commission has arbitrarily introduced 2 payrolls in the public teaching service contrary to the internationally established norms in the human resource management. The Commission argues that the ruling of the Employment and Labor Relations Court on July 12, 2019 necessitated preparation of 2 parallel payrolls in order to comply with the court ruling without disadvantaging teachers who are not KNUT members. This is total lies. Total lies. There cannot be 2 parallel payrolls in standard human resource management. This is supported by Justice Brian Mongaya's ruling, and I quote, that Section 3.1 of the Employment Act 2007 provides that the Act shall apply to all employees employed by any employer under a contract of service, and Section 3.2 therefore provides that the Act binds the government. The Act binds the government. That it shall apply to all employees, shall. The Commission states that it discontinued the scheme of service for teachers and adopted career progression guidelines in 2017 to enable implementation of the job evaluation and the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement. The union would wish to point out that there is no way the Commission could substitute the schemes of service for career progression guidelines, as the schemes of service are anchored in the Code of Regulation for Teachers, whereby Section 4 of the CBA indeed states that the Code of Regulation forms an integral part of the CBA, and therefore no party can purport to change any provision in the CBA without due consultation with other parties. So none of the parties can change the provisions of the CBA. And that the Code of Regulations very clear about this. Section 3.2 of the CBA states that the agreement shall remain in force for a period of 4 years with effect from 1st of July 2017 to 30th of June 2021. Further to this, Section 3.3 states that the CBA shall remain in force and bind all parties until a new agreement is negotiated. The CBA cannot change. Both parties are bound, the TSC and the union, and its membership, and all eligible teachers who enjoy and derive benefits from the CBA. Section 2.1 of the CBA states that in the event that any provisions of the agreement are to be modified after the agreement, in the event that any provisions of the agreement are to be modified after the agreement has been signed, the modification shall be by mutual consent of parties, made in writing and signed by the authorized representatives of the parties, TSC and us. Notwithstanding subsection 21.1, any variation and or amendment of the agreement affecting remuneration and benefits to teachers shall be subjected to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission's advice. Therefore, it is illegal and totally out of tune for Teacher Service Commission to claim that the Commission discontinued schemes of services and adopted CBGs. We signed the CBA on the 24th of October 2016 and recognized the Code of Regulations and schemes of services. And we have never met to discuss something called career progression. We have not. And furthermore, career progression guidelines are heavy documents of law that must be taken through Parliament for it to be adopted. Now, today we want to know who is speaking the truth. Because even if we were to accept career progression guidelines, they must be adopted by Parliament. Teachers of Kenya are promoted on the basis of law, and a law that is passed through Parliament. The Code of Regulation is a legal document that has gone through Parliament. And if circumstances of the Code of Regulations has to change, it must be taken again through Parliament. And that was the substance of the ruling. Whom did the Teacher Service Commission consult as per the provisions of the CBA, even in coming up with the career progression guidelines? It is important to note that CBA was anchored on the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The CBA is anchored on the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Everyone must know. Teacher Service Commission Act and the Labor Relations Act 2007. By the way, these matters are squarely in law, and we are not shaken at all, even an inch. And we have done proper interpretation. And we know our limits and the limits of TSC. And this is a matter that has been adjudicated in court and ruled. But it is wrong, even after the court has ruled, to create your own interpretation and create your own band of lies. It is wrong. At least for once in Kenya, let us be honest and truthful. And we shall be truthful to the end as a union. All these statutes are still intact and legally applicable and have not been amended by Parliament. Besides, the collective bargaining agreement was deposited in the Employment and Labor Relations Court. It is in court, and we have a registration certificate of the CBA. And once it's deposited in court and a certificate issued, then it is law. And the CBA has been executed halfway. 2017, all teachers were paid. Phase 1. All teachers were paid according to the CBA, not CBG. 1st July 2017, career progression guidelines had not even been developed. Let us have the sequence of events and time. It had not been developed. Teachers were paid and moved according to the agreement of the CBA to the respective grades. That's what we know, and that's what we negotiated. And we agreed under clause 12 that future progression of teachers shall be conducted as per the Code of Regulation Part 6. It's written. And any government lawyer and any lawyer anywhere will know the truth. If the career progression guidelines were brought into effect illegal without consultation on 2nd of May 2018, how does it affect a CBA that was negotiated in 2016 under the environment of the Code of Regulations and the schemes of service? So the excuse that it is not possible to move teachers is a mischievous way of trying to stick on the career progression guidelines. And the way it is designed to deny teachers promotion. That's what it is. That's why they're sticking and using backroom tactics, bordering on blackmail. If it is not blackmail, then what is it? Phase 2 was paid in 2018, 1st of July, all the teachers. Classroom teachers cleared their benefit because we negotiated that the classroom teachers, ordinary classroom teachers, because their benefits were far much lower, should be cleared in 2 phases. were cleared in 2017, 1st of July, 2018. 2019, 1st of July, the payment of phase 3 ought to be implemented. We wonder where on earth the Teacher Service Commission can wake up and lie to Kenyans that the judgment in court annulled the CBA. That's a lie. It is a lie, a plain lie. And the judgment of the appeal for stay orders has been pronounced by the court. The mandate of TSC is not limited at all by the judgment. The judgment is on 5 issues. Number 1, membership to the union, that all teachers, including administrators, have a right to be in the union. And that's a global practice. And for you, the media, know it. All the teachers in the world are members of a union. All over in the world. Kenya is not out of this universe that it can design, that it wants administrators out of the union. That ruling was given. Number 2, promotion of teachers in accordance with the law, code of regulations, schemes of service, the Teacher Service Commission Act. And if the Teacher Service Commission so wish to change the mode of promotion, then it must consult Parliament so that appropriate legislation is made. Teachers are not street employees, casual employees. The contract of employment and mode of promotion is also very clear in law. That was contestation, an item number 2. Item number 3 was on appraisal documents. And the court has directed that we validate. And we are ready to validate. We are ready for a meeting with the Teacher Service Commission. Let it be known. We don't fear meetings with TSC. And we have always said we are ready to meet and comply with the court orders. It's the same statement we are making here today. You are ready to meet them even at midnight so that we can validate a document that will be acceptable to teachers. And the order is very clear. Order number 5 is very clear that, of course, there are many orders in the judgment. And the judgment is here. It is not subject to any further interpretation as parties may wish. And in any case, we didn't take ourselves to court. It is TSC that took us to court. And if they took us to court, they must respect the court orders. We cannot spend time in the courts forever. And we agree with the call from the central organizations of trade union. And even the commentaries from various media yesterday, that we must sit and talk. Now we want to take the lead. We are ready to sit and talk today and tomorrow. We are ready. And those are the orders that were given. This, in essence, means that neither Teacher Service Commission nor unions can purport to change the existing provisions in the CBA before consulting other parties. And that is in line with the statute, the laws that have been given. It is also important to note that the instruments of career progression guidelines were developed in 2017, November 2017. We know they had a meeting in Kampala, in Arusha, and Dubai. End of 2017. Long after the CBA was signed, therefore the tools were never agreed upon as per Public Participation Act 2013, and was still the career progression guidelines were not developed in concurrent with the Statutory Instrument Act of 2013, which is very clear. Any regulations or guidelines that an employer or an institution develops, it must be taken through Parliament. You go and ask TSC, these career progression guidelines they are talking about, were they taken through Parliament? Ask them. If they were taken through Parliament and approved by Parliament, then that is okay. If they were never taken, then it is contrary to the Statutory Instrument Act of 2013. And was still the career progression guidelines, were not developed in accordance with the Statutory Instruments Act. Any labor policy in the public service which is not inconsistent with the Statutory Instrument Act is illegal. It is illegal to that extent in terms of the law. And this one we are not negotiating. We are not about to allow any institution in this country not to observe the law. As KNUT, we shall observe the law. All other institutions must also observe the law. It is misinformation and quite misleading that all the serving 300,000 teachers, 19,000 to be precise, in the public service were promoted with effect from July 1st, 2017, when the implementation of the CBA commenced. It is misinformation. Tell me, which employer on earth will wake up and promote all the employees? It is wrong to use that word, that all employees were promoted on 1st of July, 2017. There are no records with teachers to prove the promotions to that effect. When you promote a teacher, you write a letter. You don't engage in blanket. That was a salary increment. That was negotiated. We only negotiated salary increment, basic salary, and it is an increment. It is not a promotion. And we agreed on the mobility of principals and head teachers, where they should be, as per the job evaluation. And they were migrated to those specific grades. Period. Full stop. That's what happened. We are not madmen. We are labor negotiators. That's our job. That's the only job we did. And so to tell the public that we promoted every teacher, that's a lie. There are no records with teachers to prove the promotions to that effect. Banding, what they did is what you call banding. Banding teachers and switching them left, right, and center in job groups, and even changing the nomenclature of the job groups does not amount to any promotion. That's the truth of the matter. You go and check. Teachers in job group J, who are diplomas, are more disadvantaged. They cannot move anymore. You enter J, stay in J forever. Those who are in K, graduates, fresh graduates, are locked up in K forever, courtesy of CBG, career progression. So where is the progression they're talking about? Those in job group L, they are locked up there forever. That in fact, there is no mobility when they introduce the CBG. But the schemes of service will move them, those in J, after 3 years, automatically to K. After another 3 years, automatically to L. And from L onwards, any classroom teacher can remain in the classroom, but you will be elevated to the other group, to the other grades, and moving forward. But as per the career progression guidelines, if you are not in headship or deputy, job group M onwards is a no-go zone for classroom teachers. So this serious condemnation of workers. And in effect, Teacher Service Commission is saving 6 billion per annum. So all this is about wage reduction, which has been done in a very meticulous, sly, malicious, and mischievous way. But we are smart enough. But the court has given direction. The law is clear. Code of regulation. Even if all of us were to vacate the union today, nobody is going to change the code. The code remains as it is. Even if another leadership comes after 20 years, the code of regulation will remain the same. And the courts were created to interpret that. And that interpretation has been made. One would be tempted to ask, what tools did they use to promote teachers, and yet the career progression guidelines were not yet developed in 2017? What tools did they use? Walitumia nini 2017 to talk about what they are promoting? They used the CBA and the Code of Regulations. Teachers were moved to those particular grades, those who were to move, others were not actually moved. The names only changed, but they were paid salaries. TSC claims that under career progression guidelines, the salary grades have been expanded such that a teacher will enjoy more annual incremental credit within a grade. This is a lie, and we have given you an analysis of what teachers are earning. There is nothing about annual increments. It's actually absolute benefit. The picture of 1st July, to June, 1st July 2019 to June 30th, 2020, we've given you what each teacher is earning in each grade. You'll get a document. And that does not constitute annual increments. In fact, our analysis indicates that the annual increments still are not integrated. Why would the TSC try to act so technically and make members lose out on the privileges and benefits that they've had over the years? Mr. National Chairman, it is also a lie that 96,000 teachers formerly designated as P1 who were promoted to B5 with effect from 1st July 2012 will not be promoted under the common cadre to C1 on July 1st, 2020. This is because promotion of teachers who are members of KNUT shall strictly be as per the provisions of the scheme of service. That's what TSC are saying, that they will not be promoted. And, by the way, the change of name from P1 to B5 is simply a nomenclature. Nothing much really changed. What teachers are getting is basically basic salaries. And if there were head teachers in job group G or H and they had been moved to grades that were agreed, they are already moved and they are in those grades as per the CBA and must be paid. It is worth noting that the schemes of service which have been used since time immemorial and improved over time guarantee upgrading of this cadre of teachers. And the court was very clear and it ruled wisely. We shall stand by the orders of the court. Hiyo tutasimama nayo to the last man. The court ordered that TSC and KNUT should sit to revise the schemes of services to align it to the pay structure of the CBA. And that's what we are prepared to do. We are ready even today at midnight. And we want to be a little bit different this time. To tell TSC we are ready to meet them at midnight. To do all this work. We have no other business here in Nairobi except to do teachers' work and to operate within the CBA. Consultations, that's what in the CBA. And we are more than ready. If the schemes of services are fully implemented as directed by the court without discrimination, over 103,600 teachers, who include head teachers, deputy head teachers, senior teachers, principals, will greatly benefit because of their seniority, experience, acquisition of higher qualification, merit. Those who have done well, they are captured by the scheme. Seniority, experience, it is there in the scheme of service and the code of regulation. And those who have come with academic qualification, it's an intellectual right. We are not vacating that from 2014 to 2019. What TSC should be doing is to look for more money from Parliament to promote teachers. All these are set out in the schemes of service. Tampering with the teachers' pay, what TSC did in essence was to tamper with the teachers' pay. You can imagine thousands and thousands of teachers who went to the bank and realized their salaries had changed against their expectations. These teachers have committed the earnings. Even before an increment in July, teachers commit their earnings in terms of loans, in terms of investments. And let me report to you, many teachers walked to the banks and found their accounts negative or with little, negligible earnings in their accounts, courtesy of an employer who simply sits and decides to do things differently outside the law, completely against the law. In fact, a person taking such an action deserves to be jailed because that's violating the law. We cannot watch you every day violating the law and doing your own things. Tampering with the teachers' pay, recovering money paid to KNUT members in the first and second phases, because that's what they intend to do. The KNUT members, now is punishment of KNUT members. Let us punish KNUT because they've won a case in court. That's the story. It's punishing KNUT. And it's a case that we did not even take it ourselves. They took it. They want to recover any earnings that members of KNUT have earned since 1st of July 2017. Let me tell you, such an action is the biggest provocation of the greatest proportion that we cannot even imagine as a leadership. They have a duty to correct it immediately. Otherwise, if they don't correct the consequences out of it, we will not be able to manage it ourselves. Recovering all this money amounts of the CBA amounts to a scam. It is illegal in nature and unconstitutional. According to ILO's standards and statutes and Employment Act, no one can arbitrarily reduce an employer's wage without consent. You cannot reduce a wage. You are employees of media houses. Assuming when you went back to your media houses and your salary has been reduced by half or a quarter, I can imagine the feelings. These are the feelings that the teachers have. And we wonder why this drama. Can't we for once settle, particularly when a dispute has been settled by the court of law? The most reasonable thing is that we must sit and discuss. Once a worker has been awarded a pay rise through a CBA that has been registered and deposited in Employment and Labor Relations Court, such an increment cannot be taken away. So all teachers, and we want to assure teachers, we are not going to let Teacher Service Commission get away with this game. All your earnings, rest assured, it doesn't matter how long they keep this money. The money shall be refunded and paid to you in full with arrears. That one has to be done. I mean, we can't allow members to lose salaries that they've earned. So we want to assure our members. Other actions that have been stated that have been done by TSC, of course, particularly withholding, not even deducting union dues of the union. It's an attack on the union, to crumble, to kill it, to destroy it. This is pure, callous attack on the union. So all this war is to dismantle KNUT and finish KNUT. That will not happen. KNUT has been here for 60 years. KNUT is not the individuals here. KNUT is an institution. It is the teachers. And we are telling you, we are prepared, and we urge, today, we urge, because today is the 5th day of August, and we are communicating today on the 5th day of August. If things don't change, we shall call you tomorrow. If they don't change tomorrow, we shall call you on Wednesday. If they don't change on Thursday, we shall call you on Thursday. TSC, you have an opportunity to correct all this mess and call us. Let Kenyans know, the public know. We have not run away from TSC. We are ready to meet them. Where are they? We are prepared to sit around the table and thrash these issues once and for all. Running to the court from one court to the next will not help. But if they want us to be in the court, we are prepared. Teachers have just closed schools. Ask yourself one question. Which teacher will resume duty in the month of September when an employer has taken away an earning? Those are questions we should sleep over. Which teacher? That's warning enough. But we are prepared. We want to meet immediately. Tell TSC, we want to meet with you. We demand that the increment so not affected to our members be given with immediate effect, and union dues to the union be released forthwith with respect to our register in full. Don't touch our register. You are capable of correcting your payroll immediately and remedy and bring peace so that we can narrow down the differences between us and TSC. This time round, we will be careful so that TSC does not bring us into confrontation with the wider government. Don't rob in the entire government to a conflict that you have created. So TSC, we are giving you an opportunity, and we demand that immediately rectify this payroll. Rectified. Na ulipe walimu pesa yao. Walimu wamefanya kazi, they have been benefiting. There is a CBA in court which is not revoked, and it is law. And we know any action that we shall take shall be valid, legitimate, and constitutional. But for today, members of the media, go tell TSC we are ready to meet in the spirit of dialogue as was guided by the editorials of 2 newspapers and the Labour Center. We are prepared. That's the direction we'll take. And that doesn't mean there will be no consequences. Failure of meeting to engage and resolve. Hey, don't expect. we can't contemplate. Hatuwezi kufikiria ni nini walimu watafanya. Asanteni sana, Bwana National Chairman. Thank you.